Hey, update on two school teachers drowning in Georgia. Check it out. Man, this is getting crazy.
Details in the investigation surrounding the death and disappearance of a Metro Atlanta couple on Lake Oconee. Gary Jones and his fiancee, Jocelyn Wilson, were last seen alive on February 8th getting into a John boat on Lake Oconee. Hours later, their boat was found empty and the couple missing. Now, in case you're not familiar, Lake Oconee is about 75 miles east of Atlanta. It touches Morgan, Greene, and Putnam counties, and the search area is concentrated in Putnam.
11 Alive's Cody Alcorn has been following the search and the death investigation from the very beginning. So, Cody, you spoke with the sheriff just a short time ago. What did he tell you tonight?
Yeah, Ron, I spoke to the Putnam County Sheriff Howard Sills by phone this evening. He says Wilson's autopsy has revealed why her body was found so soon, less than 24 hours after going in the water. Gary Jones's 12-foot John boat is secured as evidence.
There's no evidence that that boat was hit or run over by another boat.
Putnam County Sheriff Howard Sills says Jones's wallet was found in the boat, his shoes found floating in the water.
That he routinely did not tie his shoes on tight, and we have absolute evidence of that that's visible when he lost the boat. So if you were out there in the water struggling to swim or something like that and kicking, it certainly wouldn't have been hard for your shoes to come off, would it?
His cell phone still missing along with his body.
All of the evidence that we have points that Mr. Jones is somewhere in Lake Oconee.
The search.
You can't see your hand in front of your face 6 feet underwater, okay? Much less 80 feet underwater.
Stretching for miles on Lake Oconee.
People are risking their lives to find a dead man.
It's been 9 days since Jones and his fiancée, Jocelyn Wilson, disappeared on the lake. Her body found less than 24 hours after their empty boat was discovered. Sheriff Sills says Wilson still had air trapped in her lungs.
I'm not saying she didn't drown. I'm leaving that up to the medical examiner who hasn't finished their report. But there's physiological evidence present that we know from the autopsy that leads me to believe, that there was a sufficient amount of air in her lungs to give her buoyancy and prevent her body from going to the bottom.
Sheriff Sills revealing for the first time Monday,
her phone was in her hand.
in the water.
Yeah, the phone, DNR had the phone. They had removed it from her hand. According to DNR, it was clutched in her hand.
Adding to the mystery of what happened on Lake Oconee inside this boat.
I don't know if we will ever know.
Sheriff Sills says it could take up to 4 months to get the autopsy results back on Wilson. Now, tomorrow, more cadaver dogs will be on the water, and the United Cajun Navy out of Louisiana are expected to join in on the search. Tonight, the sheriff is asking anyone who may have a camera on their property pointing towards the lake between where the couple put in at Fishtail Marina to where their boat was found off Long Island Drive to reach out to his office.
All right, Cody, a lot of folks following this one. Thank you so much for staying on top of it.
Volunteer search crews and dogs spent another day at Lake Oconee to continue the days-long search for Westminster School's coach and teacher Gary Jones.
He disappeared on February 8th after being seen on a small fishing boat with his fiancée, who was found dead a day after they went missing. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert is live at Lake Oconee with the latest on the search. Tyler?
Yeah, Courtney, good evening to you. Search crews tell me today has been all about narrowing down the search area here at Lake Oconee so divers can have an easier time in the water searching for clues. Those crews just arrived back at the dock after a day out on the water. Everyone out here is hopeful they can bring Gary Jones home. Volunteer search teams once again loaded up and headed out on Lake Oconee, while more than a dozen others scoured land for any sign of Gary Jones, who has been missing for more than a week.
We're going to be here until we get some resolution to this.
Lawrence Walker is with the United Cajun Navy, a nonprofit which, among other things, helps with search operations. Jones was last seen on a small boat with his fiancée, Jocelyn Wilson, a math instructor at Spelman College. Investigators say the two went out on Lake Oconee on February 8th, and a short time later, boaters discovered their empty, idling boat. A day later, Wilson's body was found in the water. Putnam County Sheriff Howard Sills says Wilson had air in her lungs when she was recovered and was found with her phone in her hand.
This is a sad situation here. We're all about doing whatever we can to help victims and their families and friends.
The group hopes to narrow down the search area, which it says is 1 mile wide by 1.5 miles long. Since Jones's disappearance, crews have found several items, including his shoes, his wallet, and his driver's license. On Tuesday, searchers used an underwater drone to give them a look below the surface. Walker says there's a lot of timber in the water, which complicates things for divers.
Pain for everyone involved. I mean, not knowing is a big thing. I mean, and you want to bring them home.
Among the people helping out is a group of alumni from the Westminster schools. Lauren Cherry is a former student of Jones's and says she knew she had to be here.
He was just, to me, like a father figure to everyone, and he was the type of person that if he ever found out that any of us were missing, he would have been the first one out here to look for us. So I feel like it's important for us to all come back and do that for him.
Investigators are calling this a death investigation. Volunteers I spoke with say they'll be out here as long as it takes. We are live in Putnam County tonight. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
After he vanished on Saturday. So far, there's just one piece of evidence. Crews found a pair of shoes. And while those shoes were recovered, the body of Atlanta teacher Gary Jones is still missing. Putnam County Sheriff's Office has launched a death investigation as search crews try and find his body.
Officials found the body of Gary's fiancée, Jocelyn Wilson, on Sunday in the same area where his shoes were found. Atlanta News First senior reporter Patrick Quinn boarded a search boat today. He has the latest on efforts from the banks of Lake Oconee.
One after the next, boats continue to leave this dock to try and find the body of Gary Jones. Canines joined in on the effort today, and the sheriff called it the most robust search effort on Lake Oconee in the last 30 years.
It's just one of those things that you'd think will never happen.
Through tears, Dana Chambliss, whose two sons were taught by Gary Jones at Westminster schools in Atlanta, she came to Lake Oconee to support the search effort, holding on to hope.
I think that some of us are still hopeful that we will not only find him, but that maybe that, miracles happen.
Saturday marks 1 week since Gary Jones and his fiancée, Jocelyn Wilson, took a boat out on Lake Oconee and didn't return.
The challenge in every drowning type situation, if I know where you go down, okay, that's where you're going to be, okay? But we don't know where they went down.
And we're here along Lake Oconee. Let me break down the search perimeter that officials and rescue crews have really centralized. And it all starts with the shoes of Gary Jones. They were found roughly right by that shore bank right there. The body of Wilson, a teacher at Spelman College, was found about 200 yards further. And then another 200 yards was their boat up against a private boat dock. Putnam County Sheriff Howard Sills told me the water's 80 feet deep with sprawling, standing trees under the surface.
We've got bodies, boats, and things that are spread out over a big area. It's not like finding a body in a fish pond.
Friday, Department of Natural Resources sent out sonar crews. The Sheriff's Office had a canine unit on site, and dive crews, along with dozens of volunteers, joined in. Sheriff Sills says they are investigating for foul play as standard in cases like this, but said he would not comment at this time on if he believes the two deaths to be suspicious in nature. For Sheriff Sills, as each day passes, the fate of these two beloved teachers starts to sink in.
I mean, initially you want to think that perhaps they're alive, and need help and things like that. I don't think that at this juncture.
And search crews will be out over the weekend. That includes the Department of Natural Resources, the Sheriff's Office, and plenty of volunteers. From everyone that I've talked with, they said they will not stop their search until the body of Gary Jones is found. From Lake Oconee, Patrick Quinn, Atlanta News First.
Tell me what you think. She ain't had no water in her lungs. Where's the school teacher guy?